Running back. So let's talk a little bit about running back. Running back, there's a couple position groups that I have a feeling I'm going to be a little higher on than some people, and a couple that maybe I'm not as high on as some other people. Running back is a position that I'm a lot higher on than a lot of other people. When I look at Jadarian Price, I liked Jadarian Price when he signed. He was a good player, top 200 caliber guy. Now that he's a senior, the running back grade has gone up for me, and I gave it a B plus. And here's why I gave it a B plus. I gave it a B plus mainly for the numbers. Notre Dame wanted a second back in this class. They tried for a second back, they came up short. So they came up short of the numbers that they were pushing for. And I think when you look at the backfield, I think they're kind of okay. I think you'd like to have a fifth back, but you also don't want to overload with bringing in two backs every year. And so I think that the B plus for me comes from the need. If I felt that Notre Dame wanted one back, I would probably bump this up to an A minus. And the reason I say that is Jadarian Price's senior film was outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And when I look at Jadarian Price, I see a kid that I was talking with Brian Smith last night, and he and I were talking about Jadarian, and his comment on Jadarian Price was, because he saw him in person, I said, hey, I want to give you a comparison, and I want you to tell me what you think. And Brian tends to be a bit of a tough grader like I am. And it was, I see a kid that reminds me a lot of Ronald Jones coming out of high school. And the thing what I didn't know until Brian went and visited Jadarian and his high school coaches, Jadarian played his whole junior year with a leg injury that slowed him down. You watch him as a senior, I see a great burst. I see great vision. I see leg drive. I see an exceptional balance. I see a kid that has tremendous second level anticipation. What that is so when I'm running and I'm on my track, so I'm running an outside zone track. We explained a couple weeks ago, a track is basically your aiming point. So if my aiming point is the back, is the inside hip of the tight end, my track is whatever keeps me on that inside hip. So if that tight end's working outside, I got to work outside with him to stay on that track. Okay. So I'm on that track. I'm not only making that first read, but I have to have enough secondary vision to be able to see what's happening on the next level. That's second level anticipation. So as I'm reading my track, I've got to make sure that I can still see that linebacker scraping to where if he's going over top, I know that I've got a double cut. So I can cut back and then cut back, right? Or if he is staying shallow, then I may need to kind of burst through that hole and stay out wide. And so get through that initial hole and then bounce it outside. Okay, so that is second level anticipation, and not a lot of backs have it. To me, that's something that separates the good backs from the great backs. I think Jadarian has that. And honestly, the only thing Jadarian doesn't have, in my opinion, is great size. He's 5'11", about $180. He's got to fill out his frame in order to hold up over the course of the season. But he graded out as a senior, and the way that I grade is I have 8 different categories, and it's different for every player. And then I have an upside grade. And when I go through it, I grade them out, and I have a scale. This number of points equals this range of grade. So 3.5 star, 4 star, 4.5 star, 5 star, whatever the case may be. When I regraded Jadarian after watching senior game film and then getting some film that Brian took of him, the game he was at, he graded out as a top 100 player for me. And even this summer, I said I thought he was really close to Gavin Sawchuk, who's a top 100 back as well. And Jadarian made those jumps. So I see a kid that fits the Notre Dame offense very well. I think that's another part of this is it's got to be a good scheme film. It's got to be a good scheme fit. He's a kid that to me can be great in the zone. He's got enough patience to be great in the zone. He's also got enough patience plus burst to be good in the man schemes. I think his second level anticipation is great for the man schemes that Notre Dame runs, the counters and some of the perimeter runs that they may like to run. And the thing is, he's really good in the screen game. Now, he didn't do a lot out of the backfield, like lining up in the slot like Kyron Williams does as a senior, but we saw him do a little bit of that as a junior. He's never going to be Kyron as a pass catcher, but he's a legitimate weapon in the pass game. Now, he's got to get better in pass pro, and that comes from just getting stronger and really filling out his frame and getting the opportunity to do it. But when I see Jadarian Price, I see an excellent football player. But again, the B plus doesn't come from him. It comes from the potential of, do you need a second back? They wanted a second back. Was that a want or a need? I was under the impression it was a need. And so that's why I bring the grade down a little bit. But B plus is still very good. Jadarian Price is a good football player. And when you talk about now, Lance Taylor has strung 3 pretty good classes in a row. You had Chris Tyree, then you had Logan Diggs and Audric Esime, which is a really good 1-2 punch. Now you have Jadarian Price. That's a good football player. And so to me, that's a big pickup, because let's remember something. When they took a commitment from Jadarian Price, Gavin Sawchuk, Nicholas Singleton, and Dallin Hayden were all still on the board, and Notre Dame was considered either the leader or in the top 2 or 3 of all of them. So when they took Jadarian, they knew that even if they took 2 backs, one of those guys they couldn't take. They liked him, and he has rewarded their fondness for him with just a breakout season, to where, honestly, when I regraded senior film, he was the number 2 back in that group of 4 behind Nicholas Singleton. Is now the number 1. Dallin Hayden went down just a little bit. I thought he lost a little bit of a step as a senior, but I think the running back grade is very good. So B+ for me for the running backs.